Okay, welcome back. So in this lecture, we're going to discuss how to use new and delete operator with class. We're going to see how to create memory for a data member which is declared as a pointer, and also we're going to see how to allocate or how to create an object of a class using new. Okay. Okay, let's create a class here. Suppose we're going to create a very simple class called sample, and initially what you're going to do, we're going to create a data member here as an integer, and it also has a data member as pointer. Okay, so what we're going to see in this lecture, we're going to see how can we allocate memory for this pointer, okay, inside the constructor using new, and then later on we're going to see how to free that memory inside the destructor of the class. So let's declare one constructor here. Okay, so we are having one argument constructor here. Okay, let's initialize it with some default values. Default value is 6, and then we can use here initialize a list to initialize the data member of the class. Okay, so here num is initialized by the value n here. Now let's see how can we allocate memory for the ptr here. ptr equal to new int. Okay, so you can go with single integer or you can go with an array, like our previous lectures we did it for the array also. So it is almost syntax are very same, only use this square brackets or subscript operator when you want to initialize for array, and if you do not want for array, go with single variable. Now suppose that while we allocate memory for the pointer, we also want to initialize the value. So suppose here 1 to 9 should be stored into that memory block which is allocates by new. So this is the technique that we can also use. While we allocating memory, at the same time we can also initialize it. Okay, so let's print a message here from constructor, and simple that we're going to print their values. Very simple method. You're going to write void print. First we're going to print the value of num, and then we're also going to print the address that is pointed by ptr. Okay, so we can print here value of ptr. Value of ptr will be an address which is pointed by the ptr, allocates by new operator. We are printing the address here, and then we can print the value which we have passed to that memory block when we create the memory using new. So it will be our value at address. Value at address, or simple we can also write value at that memory block which is pointed by ptr. Okay, then how to print that value? Simply you're going to use dereferencing operator with the data member ptr. Okay, so we have written very simple class here, class having one data member as a normal integer variable, and we have another data member as integer pointer. So first what we did, we have created one argument parameter as constructor, and we also have used initializer list to initialize the num, which is the data member of sample. At next what we did, we have created memory dynamically using new for ptr. ptr is a data member of class sample, and we also initialized at the same time with the value 9. And then we have written another member function which is going to be print the values of the data member. So we know that once we allocate memory, after performing all the necessary job or required by this memory, we need to free that memory. Okay, so in C++ class constructor we have used when we create an object. Okay, so we need to use the constructor to initialize the data member, to allocate memory for the pointer data member of the class. Similarly, we're going to use opposite of constructor called destructor to deallocates all the memory that we have created dynamically. Okay, then how to write destructor? Use tilde symbol, and destructor name is also same name of the class name. So what we're going to write? We're going to simply going to free that memory that we have created here. Okay, so free, not free, sorry. In C++ we're going to use delete ptr. Okay, so after free that memory, let's see, we're going to print that message from destructor. Okay, fine. Okay, now let's go to the main method. Now we're going to create an object of sample class, sample obj, and we're passing a value 4. Okay, and then let's call the print method and check it is working or not. So how to call a member function? Object dot print. Execute that code. Oh, it is showing some error. Cout was not declared in this scope. Okay, header file is missing. So we're going to add the header file, required header file for this purpose. Okay, now look at the output here. Output will be very clear to you. Just let me add one new line character by which output will be more understandable from your side. Okay, now look at this output and go to the main method. Then we can explain line by line here. Okay, so when you create the object inside the main method, it's called the parameters constructor. Once it called the parameters constructor, okay, if we go up, this is the parameters constructor we have. Okay, so what it first did, it passed the value we have passed as 4, and the default value of n will be overwritten by the value that we have passed from the main method as 4. Then we have used initializer list to initialize the data member of the class. Okay, thereafter, after initializing the num of the constructor, thereafter program control get inside the body of the constructor. Once it inside the body of the constructor, what the first step is did, it allocates memory for the pointer data member and also initialized that memory by 9, and then it prints from constructor. So we get the output, first output from constructor here. Okay, now let's go back to the main method. So after doing all the initialization and memory allocation job, program control will go back to the main method and it's going to execute this line obj.print. What is print? Print is a member function of class sample and obj is the object of class sample. So we're going to use dot operator to call a member function using the object. So once we call this print method, program control go jump to that function, member function, and what the first thing is printed here, it's printed value of num 4. Yes, so it's printed value of num 4. Second, it's printed value of ptr. Ptr is a data member of class sample and it's printed the address pointed or held by the ptr. Okay, if we look at the output here again, so what it's print? It's print value at address 9. So if we look at carefully the body of the constructor, we have used 9 to initialize that memory block. We have allocates using new operator. Okay, now go back to this main method. Yeah, then last line is print from destructor. See, when an object goes out of scope, destructor is called to free all that memory which is occupied by that object. So inside the destructor, we have free that pointer which is previously allocated inside the constructor. So this is the very basic part that we can use DMA with the class. In the next lecture, we're going to discuss how to create a bunch of memory, that means an array, as a data member of the class, and we're going to allocate the memory for that array using new, and later on we're going to free that memory using delete.